The best time of the year is finals time, Ross. We're all up and about. It's what you play football for. And the first final is an elimination final at Gabba tomorrow night between Brisbane and Richmond. It's going to be huge, and the pressure is on both of these sides in general, but Brisbane more so, Ross.
Yeah, well, they've lost a lot of home finals recently, and Chris has been talking about it and rationalising. But at the end of the day, there's no escaping. They need to win a home final and do it now. And
we need to go back to round 23. And I want to look at the first 15 seconds. They're an aggressive side, Brisbane. So here is Ross, Lachie Neale and Angus Brayshaw.
Yeah, Lachie Neale gets tagged a lot, but Brayshaw is a great mid in his own right. But you can see Melbourne have won the ball, and Lachie's used to someone following him. So as it unfolds, makes a great decision, Brayshaw. Out the back, Lockie's hunting the ball and they open him up.
Yeah, Daniel Rich, how aggressive is Rich? So it's the first centre bounce. You'd think he'd be on Neil Bullen. He's aggressive. He leaves him. Let's watch this unfold. So the ball goes forward from Brayshaw, and I'm looking at this guy, Coleman. He's on Pickett. He's left him as well, Ross.
Well, that's 20 metres. That's modern assertive defence, and he's attacking, but they're giving him a leg rope. You give quality a leg rope like that, and they're going to make you take. But that's how Brisbane play it. Number one, attack. Number two, all year. But they've lost their balance. They're pushing hard forward more than they need to.
Yeah, so Ross and I believe they're being too aggressive. This is another one. This is Petrarca and Pickett. And look where Payne is, how assertive he is and what unfolds from this one, Ross.
Yeah, well, Starcevic got Pickett, and you can see Payne. Looks, he's guarding the best player in Australia. Gets caught in no man's land. Has no influence on that play. They leave it outnumbered in their front half, and that's a disaster. So Harris Andrews, they'll protect the corridor, but they give it up. But that's just an indicator they've lost their balance between being assertive and being over the top. And the numbers reflect that. They're 15th defence in the league, getting sliced up consistently.
And we wanted to highlight that because of this Richmond forward line. That's as good as you're going to open up with in a final. So Lynch, Revolt, Cumberland's become a fantastic third tool for them. Bolton, All-Australian. Dustin Martin comes back in. And then you've got Maurice Rioli Jr., who's in good form.
Well, it's a powerful, powerful forward line. And Coleman and Rich can really attack, but can they defend that quality? And Adams goes out of the team. And if they don't get pressure on the ball in the midfield, Richmond will kick a bag.
It was a fantastic clash between these two sides in round 20, and Damien Hardwick spoke on Fox Footy during the week about what turned it around at half-time against the Lions.
We learned a hell of a lot about ourselves in that first half, and some areas of our game we had to improve, and we've sort of gone to work on those. But, the proof will be in the pudding this week. There's some things around clearance that we had to get a little bit better too, and credit where credit's due. Andrew McQualter, our midfield coach, and all our other coaches have got to work on that aspect.
So, Ross, set us up what Brisbane got right and Richmond had to adjust.
Yeah, well, I did that game, and they fixed it during the game. Don't worry about post, but early they played with a spare defender. Brisbane have got a +1 in this stoppage, and also the far side winger, McIntosh, is sagging back. And as it unfolds, you see, they don't chain it out this time. But you can see as the circles come up, that's Broad at the back, and that's McIntosh. And that's his opponent. So they're giving Brisbane plays to use, and they're great at finding them. So in the first quarter, they couldn't find it. As this unfolds, and they just slice them. They bypass the sagging defenders and winger, and they get it in the one-on-ones and the pace of Cameron. So they did that all first quarter. They built up to a 42-point lead. So what Richmond did, and their coaching staff was exceptional, at quarter time, they adjusted. They equalised at the stoppage in the second and third quarter and in the fourth. So this is all equal numbers. So it becomes a bit scrappy, but that's how Richmond like it. And they surge the ball. When Brisbane win the ball back, they love an uncontested mark, control the game, work it through the midfield. But they're just under constant pressure until they hack it forward. Once they hack it forward, he can't find an uncontested mark. There's no spares in the contest. And then Richmond off to the races. Rioli with his speed and his attack. You've got Pickett on the outside, Shy Bolton, and it ends up in the blink of an eye to Lynch in the one-on-one. But that's because they equalised. In the first quarter, Brisbane sliced them, but they learned. So I think they'll equalise, no spare. Richmond love to play with a spare. I think they'll take it away, pressure, create the turnovers.
You're tipping Richmond?
Based on that, yes.
Yeah, I'm tipping Richmond as well. The second game is a qualifying final. That's Melbourne and obviously the Sydney Swans. And we want to look at how these two teams are playing, and don't underestimate the Sydney Swans, because look at this. Contested possession in the last month, Ross. They're ranked second, the Sydney Swans, and the Melbourne are ranked first. But then there's a dynamic run and carry of the Swans, and then obviously there's the proven players of Melbourne.
Yeah, there's a lot going on. I think we all thought Swans dynamic, spread, kick the ball. But their contest, John and the coaching group and the players have focused on it. and they're number 2 equal, so they can match it with Melbourne. The other thing they need to do, Melbourne, 17 first quarter wins. They want to break your spirit like they did to Brisbane, like they can do. But Sydney have got to hold and maintain, but Sydney 17 fourth quarters, and we know Melbourne fatigue a bit in the last quarter, so be in it, match them in the contest, and then to your point, the run and the speed and the skill and the attack off half back to expose Melbourne on the spread and make them defend.
Yeah, we believe if they're in it at half-time, they're a huge chance of Sydney Swans, and they also exposed Lever in this round 12 match.
Well, I think strategically, May didn't play, but Lever did, and May will come back in, but you can just see here, they'll spread the field, they'll overlap, but they'll make, up there, they made Lever, who wants to go back, defend. And even here, there's McDonald running in the forward 50. Lever wants the position for a long kick in, but they know. Pre-game, John said, let's expose him, let's honour him, let's make him defend. And you look at Lever like, oh, gee whiz, who's on my man? Because normally he gets away with it, but they're disciplined and they're strategic.
So this man I wanted to highlight, if I could take any person into a final series, it'd be Max Gawn for what he does for his team and the competition. He had 28 disposals and kicked 3 in this game the last time.
I think he had 18 contested possessions. He's handy. Ladham's played last time, but Hickey's come in, he's in fine form, he's mobile. I think the combination with Reid can match Jackson. They need to take Max forward himself and make him defend.
Who are you tipping?
Look, I'll go with the Swans. I think their form's been red hot. I think Melbourne have turned it around, but not as consistently as I'd like.
Yeah, I'm tipping the Melbourne in that one. Geelong and Collingwood is the next qualifying final, and we want to look at how the two teams play this game. And that last time they met, it was a long time ago, round 3, Ross, but when the pressure dropped off from Collingwood, we saw the best of Geelong.
Yeah, and we've all heard Chris Scott's comments. When the pressure dropped off, this is what happened. They kicked an enormous amount of goals in the last quarter. You can just see there's no pressure on the ball carrier. You get over that run. It's basically an uncontested mark. They could have raffled that. So the key to Collingwood's game, and you can just see here, they win the ball and they're out. How many are out goal side here? 3 of them out goal side, 4. So Collingwood need to keep their pressure. When they dominated them in the third quarter, it was 202, 209. But in that third quarter, in the last quarter, it was 170.
Yeah,
so that's the key to the game.
Yeah, they can't play patchy footy against Geelong. And I just wanted to highlight the goal kickers. So you look at Geelong, their highest is 59, Collingwood's highest is 37. Then it's another 59, next is 36. So Jamie Allett, 23, and then you've got Stengel, who's number 3 with 46. So unless their midfield dominates Collingwood, I don't see how they can handle this forward line.
Yeah, their midfield or their system, trying to get a +1, and we'll look at that in a minute. But you can just see they do their best, but the quality, the absolute quality of Camerons and Hawkins, and that's why the Cats are a top 2 attack.
Collingwood really handle a lot of inside 50 entries well, but it's when they generate the spare, Ross.
Yeah, they like to get a spare or a third man up, and then they go. They transition it out and they slingshot out. So Carlton in the first quarter were dominating the contest, going in, and Collingwood rolling off a marking and then just slingshotting out and catching them. But after quarter time, Carlton got rid of their high forward, equalised, took away Collingwood's ability to defend with a spare and then slingshot, and they dominated the game, Carlton, and should have won after
no
that.
doubt. Once they evened up the numbers, Ross, they can be vulnerable in defence.
Well, Howe is a great roll-off player, but Curnow, who's a great player, just walks to the front, and that happened all in the third quarter. Even here, they're out, there's no spare, they're one-on-one. And then, as great a player more is, it gets very difficult against the quality of a Hawkins or a Cameron.
Yeah, I'm going Geelong. I think they win this one, don't you?
Yeah, their game's in good order. I know there's a bit of noise around Geelong, but unlike Brisbane, they've changed how they play and improved their personnel. I think they get it done.
The Saturday night final is the Western Bulldogs and the Fremantle Dockers. Fremantle go in as favourites, obviously at home, with no Liberatore, no Fife. You want to talk about the different styles of play between these two sides?
Yeah, it's fascinating. Dockers' #1 defence, but they defend well when they haven't got the ball, but it's all built off controlling the ball. So when they turn it over, attacking, they're in great shape. But the Bulldogs are a 15th defence. So Dockers took 150 marks, so they're patient. They're not a high-scoring team, but they'll just be patient against the Bulldogs till something opens up. So it's going to be that control. And here it is, really patient. That's really slow compared to what we saw with Collingwood. And they created opportunities like that. But over the last 6 weeks, they're 15th in the comp for scoring, so it's not sustainable. Here's the Bulldogs the opposite. They win the ball. Bontempelli, he just rolls on. He's just going to roll on and go, not unlike Collingwood. So the attacking Bulldogs, and to your point, if they put scoreboard pressure on, what do you think can happen?
Yeah, I think they're in big. I reckon they could really put Fremantle on the back foot if they can score nice and early.
Yeah, so if the Bulldogs get on top early, the Dockers are going to have to go quicker than they prefer, and we think there's going to be a bit of rain as well.
And I reckon Dunkley goes after Brayshaw, gives them a bit of a chance. But I'm tipping a tight one, but the Dockers just to win.
Yeah, well, I think the heart says Dockers because they're at home and the crowd and the leadership of Brayshaw. I think they can get it done.
4 huge finals, Sam.
Absolutely, and well dissected by Ross the Boss as always.